Hello there. Well, today we're going to have another little story about Eric the elf. So, it was the start of spring, and Eric the elf woke up, had a little stretch, and he went to the window of his little cottage, and he threw open the curtains and looked out on his garden, thinking to himself, why, what a joy it will be this springtime to be able to get up every morning and look out on my garden. But as he rubbed the sleep from his eyes and looked out on his garden, he thought to himself, oh dear me, that doesn't look good at all, does it? Whoa, there's weeds everywhere. I think I shall have to do something about this. But I don't really know very much about gardening. I know, he said to himself, I'll go and ask all my friends in the forest what they would plant. Oh yes, that's a very good idea, he thought to himself. So he got dressed, had his breakfast, and started out into the forest. Well, he hadn't gone far when he came across Mr. Fox, who was just popping his nose out of his set, having a little sniff of the air. And he said to him, Mr. Fox, I'm so glad I saw you. Now, could you tell me, what is your favourite flower? Well, Mr. Fox thought for a moment and said, I think I would have to say a poppy. Oh, yes, a nice, bright, red poppy, so vivid and vibrant. Oh, yes, that really cheers me up, seeing a poppy. Ah, very good, said Eric. I'll just make a little note of that. And he made a little note, a tiny little notebook, and popped it into his pouch. A little further into the woods, he came across Miss Badger. Miss Badger was snuffling around, just trying to find a tasty morsel to eat. And he said to her, excuse me, Miss Badger, could I ask you, what is your favourite flower? Miss Badger brought her nose up out of the grass for a moment, looked him squarely in the eye and said, well, now, I think I'd have to say clover. Yes, clover. That nice little spark of white amongst the green. I find it very calming, clover. Yes, clover, I'd say. Oh, very good, said Eric. Yes, I'll make a note of that. And so he did. A little further into the forest, he was looking high and low to see who he'd come across next, when up on a branch he saw old Mr. Squirrel. And he called up to him, excuse me, Mr. Squirrel. Oh, yes. What is it? Said Mr. Squirrel. And he ran down the tree. Even though he was quite old, he was still very spry for his age. Yes. What? Well, Eric said, I'd just like to ask you, Mr. Squirrel, what would be your favourite flower? Oh, what a very good question. Well, I'd have to say bluebells. Yes, bluebells. Oh, I do love a bluebell. They carpet the forest. They're so bright and blue, like tiny little bells hanging on a stick. Oh, yes, very jolly, bluebells. Bluebells! Oh, yes, thank you, said Eric, a little overcome. I'll just make a note of that, he said. And he popped another little note in his tiny little notebook, popped it away in his pouch. He'd almost come to the edge of the forest, when who should he spot hiding under a bush but Miss Rabbit. Miss Rabbit was twitching her nose, and she turned, looked straight at him, for she could smell Eric coming. Elves are not as clean in their habits as perhaps we might wish them to be. So, Eric had no embarrassment at this, for he was quite used to it. Said, excuse me, Miss Rabbit, I wanted to ask you, what is your favourite flower? Oh, what a good question, said Miss Rabbit. I think I'd say, daisies. there's daisies, daisies. They look like they're dancing in little white skirts when the wind passes over them. They're very jolly. I do like a daisy. Yes, daisies. Oh, thank you, said Eric. And he went on his way, just making a little note in his tiny little notebook. Well, now he was at the edge of the forest, and he thought to himself, well, is there anybody left to ask? I think I've got quite a good list now. And out in the meadow, he spotted Annabel the cow. So he trotted across to Annabel and said, Annabel, I wonder, could I ask you, what would be your favourite flower?
Well, said Annabel, I'm very fond of a buttercup. Yes, a buttercup. So bright, yellowy, cheerful, buttery. Oh, yes. A buttercup. That would be my favourite.
Oh, well, thank you so much, said Eric. And he made a little note and saw that he'd quite filled the page of his little notebook. So he trotted back to his little house in the woods, very pleased with himself, having got all these excellent suggestions of what to grow in his garden. He went through the gate into his garden and had a little look all around. And you know what? When he looked properly, he saw that his garden was full of poppies and clover and bluebells and daisies and buttercups. All the colours looking so cheerful and bright and calming and vivid. In fact, all the things that his friends had said to him. And he looked at his garden with fresh eyes and thought to himself, well, what a silly elf I am. I've got everything I need right here. I just need to see it in a slightly different way. And so it was that he had the garden he wanted, and he enjoyed it all through the springtime.